Hello everyone and welcome to our class on the brand new Photos app for the Mac. Today I'm going to be showing you how to correctly move your data from the traditional iPhoto library over to the cloud so that everything starts to sync correctly so you can access all your photos on all your mobile devices, well, Apple devices that is. I'm going to show you, of course, how to use the software. We're going to do a full tutorial teaching you how to edit your photos, how to share them, whether through Facebook's, all the other social media out there, email, you name it, how to create slideshows, and a lot more. So stay tuned. Now, if you have already moved your entire library over to the cloud and you're sure that it's done correctly, you can skip ahead to this time code. That is where the actual class begins. For those of you who are either unsure if you've done it correctly or want to make sure that you do it correctly, make sure you keep watching. Here it is, our class on the brand new Photo app for the Mac, coming up next on PCClassesOnline.com. All right, everyone, before we really dive into everything, I want to make sure that all of you make this transition correctly and don't encounter any potential problems. So I just want to address a few small items to make sure that you are good to move your photo library to iCloud. So the first thing I would like you to do is go to the Apple icon, go to System Preferences. From here, you're going to go to iCloud and just kind of take a look at how much free space you have. Now, Apple gives everyone 5 gigabytes of cloud storage, which is frankly not enough when you start to consider photos. But just by going to $1 a month, you go from 5 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes. Now, if you want to add additional cloud storage, go to Manage, and from here you can click Buy. Now, we're located in the United States, so here everything's in US dollars, but you can see here $1 gets you 20 gigs. This, by the way, is what I use. I use 200 gigabytes, and I really only use a fraction of that for $4 a month. So make sure you've done that. The next thing I want you to make sure that you've done, and technically speaking, this is not a critical step. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that all of you go through this transition safely. If you have an iPhone, if you have an iPad, plug it into your computer. Even if you've already downloaded the update that gains you access to the brand new Photos app, I still want you to go into iPhoto. And here's the key thing you want to make sure. You want to make sure that this basically doesn't happen. So here you're seeing content that is on my phone that is not on the computer. So you want to click this button and import whatever is not already in iPhoto. Again, this is not technically essential, but doing it in this order is going to protect you. So when you're done with that, I'm hoping you all have already done this, back up your data, because you're about to go through a very lengthy process. It's going to take a long time, especially for any of you who are on DSL. So if you have not already backed up your data, please watch our class on how to back up your computer using Time Machine. I will include a link to that class in the description of this video. Please make sure you've done it. Again, that's just for your safety. Once you've done that, here's what you're going to do. Now you're going to open up the brand new Photo app, and we're going to start to walk through the process of moving everything to iCloud. We're going to click here where it says Get Started, and now click that big blue button that says Use iCloud Photo Library. Now this process is going to take hours, and for many of you it could take many hours. So my advice is to do this late at night, leave your computer on overnight. Now there are a few other things you can do while this is happening. So while your photos are uploading to the cloud, we can start to bring them down onto your mobile devices. So on either your iPhone or your iPad, go into Settings. From there, go to iCloud, then go into Photos, and on both devices, you can turn iCloud Photo Library on. Once again, just keep in mind, this is going to remove any photos that are on those devices that are not in iCloud from the device. So turn that on, and my advice is plug in the device because it is going to take a really long time to bring down that content. Be sure your iPhone and iPad are also connected to Wi-Fi. Now, when the whole process finishes, what you're going to do is, well, this is at least my advice. So one thing I found that makes the photo program significantly easier to navigate is to show the sidebar. So go up to the top menu bar, go to View, and you'll see here about the 5th item down is Show Sidebar. It just makes it easier, especially for those of you out there who use different albums. It brings all that content to the left-hand side. Now at this point, let's move on to the full tutorial. All right, everyone. So now that you have all of your photos moved over from iPhoto into the Photos app, now we can start to go through how to navigate this piece of software. I'm going to show you, of course, how to edit your photos. I'm going to show you how to share them with your friends through social media and email. We're going to go over creating slideshows and some other good stuff along the way. I'm also going to give you a lot of tips and tricks that you might not pick up from Apple's website either. So there are basically 3 different ways to view your photos. We have a year view. You can see that right up here at the top. By the way, this is a demo account. I don't keep a lot of photos. You're going to have a lot more here, so bear with me. We have year view. If I punch in, we have collections. Punch in again, we get moments. Here's basically the difference between these. So with moments, you'll see that all these photos here are kind of very similar. They're shot around similar dates, okay, but not all quite the same. If I pull back in collections, all of those photos are grouped together. So it's my suspicion that a lot of you are going to hang out here in the collections view. Some of you maybe the moments view. The other thing I want to show, because not everyone out there has perfect vision, if you have trouble viewing any of these, in the moments view, you have this little slide bar here at the very top left. So if you drag this bar, this dot to the right-hand side, notice all of the thumbnail images are increasing in size. Now to switch back and forth between these different views, I'm going to try my best to describe this. So if you were looking at my trackpad right now, you pinch and pull with your fingers to go back and forth between these views, very similar to how you do it on an iPhone or an iPad. So once you kind of figure that part out and you know how to navigate, you're going to probably want to edit some of your photos here. So let's go over that aspect. I'm going to use this photo right here, back from when we used to be in Key West, Florida. If you want to edit your photos, you're going to double click on your photo. You notice it takes up the entire screen, and we now have an edit button here at the top right. Click on that. Now, these options here are going to look very, very similar to the photo app on the iPhone and the iPad. Apple is clearly trying to create some very consistent features here so that it's very easy to go back and forth between editing a photo on your phone or your computer. Pretty handy feature. So here we have Enhance. It's a one-click. You let the computer figure out what to do. I don't know if I've already retouched this photo, so let's see what happens. Not a lot. Very, very subtle difference. If you ever want to undo, yes, you do have a revert to original button here at the top right corner. I always like to try to bring up important hotkeys when they come up. This is an example of one of them. The universal hotkey for undo is Command Z as in zebra. So anytime you screw up and need to go back in time, Command Z. Every time you hit it, it goes back a step in time. We have a rotate button right here, which will rotate the image quite predictably. The other way to do this, by the way, is Command R. You can also do that back from the moments view. We have crop. Okay, so you can grab any of these corners here and kind of readjust your shot. So if I really just want to focus on this little bridge over there, you can see it kind of zooms in when I do that. Now, if you're shot, and hey, I got lucky with this one, if it's not perfectly level, you can use this little dial right here, okay? So I can, watch this, as you drag down, it's actually zooming in. That way you keep the same aspect ratio. Otherwise it would just look weird. I like to use the horizon here as my guide. So it was just a few, couple degrees off, but now it looks better. The other thing you'll notice here at the very bottom, we have a flip button. So if you're like, you know what, I want that bridge to be on the right. Voila. Flip back and forth. Next one we have right here is filters. Click on that one. Basically the exact same filters you had before. The difference is that now you have a preview here on the right-hand side. So if you want to give it kind of that noir effect, you can click on that. I love noir, especially in video. Let's go back to none though. And now we're going to go here into adjustments. Now you'll see here by default you only have 3. We have light, color, this is actually saturation by the way, and black and white. If you want the other more advanced adjustments, they're all right up here. Just click on add. You can check any of these options here and hit save as default. So for those of you who are a little bit more on the pro consumer side, you may want to add more of these back. I will say that for those of you who are advanced, photo users, the photo app is definitely a far cry from Aperture. So if you really need those advanced features, you may want to check out Lightroom. I know the people who use Lightroom love it. I personally am not trained in that. We are going to be we're going to add classes on Lightroom later on this summer, for which I'm going to bring in someone who's a professional photographer. I'm not going to try to teach that one myself. Now, the next thing I want to go over here, I actually need to switch photos to demonstrate, so bear with me one moment. All right, so here we have a photo of moi, and I'm going to hit the edit button and show you this final feature here. So we have the retouch tool, you'll see right here. And this has only gotten slightly tweaked, but it's enough that I wanted to at least cover it. So this is where you can have now access to two different tools. One, for those of you who are familiar with Photoshop, is going to be very similar to the Band-Aid tool. The other is sort of like Clone, though granted not quite like it. So we have a little slide bar right here which will adjust the size of your tool brush. By the way, little trick, you can use the brackets key on your keyboard. That will do the same thing. Okay, so let's make that a little bit smaller. You can see here I have a little something going on right here. Okay, if you just click, boom, gone. Very, very simple. Now, the other trick is if you hold the Option key down, this is where it's a little bit like Clone, but still not quite. It's more like it's surveying the texture. That's the best way I can really describe it. So now it's going to be pulling the same texture from up here. In this case, it looks basically the same, but I want to at least point out that there is a difference. There is a red eye tool that will only show up if it senses that there is a person, and basically it's one click, it'll remove the red eye, but if it doesn't, you can manually remove it. I never ever have good luck with red eye removal. I always end up looking high in the process because your pupils are the size of, well, you get the idea. So the next feature we're going to go over is some of the different sharing options. So let's go back to our photos and talk about that. Basically, essentially two different ways to share. You can either secondary click on a photo, go to share, you see them all here. The other way is you have a share button up here at the very top right corner. So you can send it out through social media, email, whatever it is you want. Okay. There's also a more button here, so this will get you into the system preferences where you can really tell it exactly what options you want here. So you can see which ones I have here. Granted, I don't even use Flickr, so we can uncheck that. But this is where you go to add or remove social networks, etc. You can find them all right there. Close out of that. Next thing I want to do is show you how to have some fun and create a slideshow. There's basically two different ways. One way is an instant slideshow. The other is going to allow you a little bit more ability to customize it and also eventually export it should you want to burn it to a DVD. So if you want to just have a quick slideshow, let's say you want to have someone, standing over your shoulder, you want to show them, a bunch of photos, you can just simply click and drag as you highlight a bunch of photos. And from here, you can go up here to the little play button you see up here at the top right and hit play a slideshow. Now, forgive me, the last time I taught a class on photos, which granted was iPhoto, and I did this at this point, because the music played in the background, even only for a second, I got slapped with a strike against my YouTube account from Apple. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that one. So I can't do it for you, but I can walk you through it. Now, the other way is to create a slideshow that you can save and edit. You can share it with other people, whether it's through YouTube or you can burn it to DVD. And the way you do that is you use this other button right here, this little plus symbol. This is used for creating projects. So, for example, one of them is slideshow, but this is also where you're going to go if you want to create an album. You can create a book that is printed and mailed to your home, a calendar, cards, or just prints. Let's go into slideshow for now. You can create the name for your slideshow. I'm just going to call it today since that's the default. And here on the right-hand side of this window, you'll see we have three different buttons. The first button is to choose what theme you want. I have to say, the Ken Burns theme, at least the default music that comes with this, is actually really, really nice. And a few of these also have very, very nice music. For a simple one-click slideshow, it's not half bad. Granted, it's not going to be the kind of quality if you had done this in iMovie and really adjusted every single shot, but for something you can create in just a couple of minutes, it's pretty darn good. You can go here to music. By default, it will use whatever theme music comes with the theme, but if you don't want that, you can go into your music library and pick out any song you want. Andy Grammer, that's your second shout out in my videos. Next one here, we have duration, okay? My advice, use fit to music. That way it automatically adjusts the timing of each slide so that it fits the song. If you have a really, really long song and not a lot of photos, maybe not quite the best option. Otherwise, you can go here to custom and you can tell it exactly how long you want your project to be. Okay, and then we also have a button here to scale photos to fit the screen if you want. I'll leave it on fit to music for now. Another thing I just want to answer, I suspect a lot of people are going to be confused by this. If you don't want the name of the slideshow to be on the slideshow, it's this little T that you see down here at the bottom left corner. Just click on it so that it's highlighted and hit that delete key. Boom, gone. Very simple. Now, if you want to see a preview of how it looks, you can hit preview. I have my speakers turned off so I can actually do this part here. Okay, and it's just going to play a preview right here in this window. If you want to go full screen, okay, at that point you can hit this button right here. This button you see here is for looping. So one of the instances I could imagine where you might use this, I do a lot of work lately with realtors, I've noticed, and they want to have a widescreen TV in their window if they have, a storefront, and that the public can see who are walking by. This would be a great thing to do. You can put a slideshow of your different properties, and it'll just play over and over and over again. Obviously, if you're doing that, you wouldn't have music. Now, when you're done and you want to export it, that's where you have your options right up here. You have an export button at the very top right corner. Now, by default, I believe this is set to 720p. 1080p is currently considered the standard for high definition, even though there's higher definition out there, like 4K. So you can use this option, and this will create a file that you can save to your computer. At this point, I would like to give a little shout out. If this is the kind of thing you want to do, if you want to burn a DVD, you may want to consider taking our class on Toast 12. By the way, if you are watching this video like the day that we release it, the Toast 12 class is going to come out a couple days later. So just wanted to clarify that. You can also send it to iTunes. This part is really handy if you want to have this slideshow so that you can play it on, of course, your computer, but also your iPhone or your iPad, because after all, anything in iTunes you can put on your mobile devices. Let's hit cancel for now. Next thing I would like to do is go over a couple quick little tricks that I think you all will really want to know and need to know. So one thing I want to show you here, let's find a photo here. My buddy Ben Pegg, awesome musician. Free concerts whenever I want them. Love it. If you want to delete a photo, I want to show you this. If you hit the delete key, look what you get. You get this annoying little pop-up. All right. If you want to bypass this so you don't get this pop-up, hit Command Delete. That way it just, boom, goes away. Now, when you delete photos, just like they did before, they do go into a trash bin. So they don't actually clear out, at least not right away. But I want to show you how to get to that. In the past, it was here in the sidebar. Now you have to go to File. So File, and you'll see here it says Show Recently Deleted. This will also do the same thing on all of your other devices, okay? And you can see how I have a bunch of old headshots. God, that goes way back. If you want to just, with one click, delete them all, just hit Delete All. Boom, everything is gone. Just like that. Sorry, Ben. Next thing I want to show you here is something a little bit odd I noticed, but good to know, is that, we have these little dots up here at the top left. We have red to close, or so you thought, yellow to minimize, and green to go full screen. Well, in every other program on the Mac, red is not quit, it's close, as in it's still running in the background. Not with Photos. Notice no little dot running underneath the icon. So for whatever reason in the Photos app, at least as of today's date, unless this may be a bug that they haven't quite yet fixed, okay? But as of right now, that is actually quit. That's especially important to know if you are currently uploading a lot of photos to the cloud and you quit, they stop. So make sure you use minimize instead. Next little trick I would like to show you. I'm going to acknowledge another bug. Okay, and please understand when I show you this, every single class I have ever taught is a snapshot in time. So if you are watching this significantly into the future, today's date, by the way, is the day it came out, April 8th of 2015. If you're watching this significantly into the future, it may have already been corrected. Little bug I discovered and have reported to Apple. So if you're in email, okay, you have this little icon right here, looks like a paperclip, and that's always been a way to export to iPhoto. Notice, it still says export to iPhoto. The problem is that if you click that button, watch what happens. It launches iPhoto, not Photos. And even if you click Open Photos, nothing happens. So that is a bug I have already reported to Apple. Hopefully they will fix it, but who knows. Next thing I want to go over, something that will not necessarily affect all of you, but I want to at least acknowledge, if you like to print your own photos. I know some people like to add titles. So see down here it says Untitled. Okay, I'm going to just say this is my title. Okay. In the past, there has been a way to have that text print if you do print your photos at home. No more. If you go here, you'll notice no way to get it. Okay, very limited options there. If you do want to print your photos, I want to give you two pieces of advice. This will potentially save you some money. So first of all, if you use Apple's printing service, it is awesome. You do have to pay for shipping, obviously. So if I wanted them to print this panorama, I'd go up here to the, wrong button. My bad, plus button, and the last option here is prints. Now this uses your Apple ID, so whatever credit card you have on file that you would be charged normally if you, let's say if you bought music or bought an app, okay, same credit card. So you can have them print your photo. I love that they have auto-sized, okay, so check this out. You can have a panorama from 8 inches to 36 inches long. That's pretty awesome. You can also poster size it if you want, okay, and the quality of their paper stock kicks butt. Okay, I've seen what other companies out there do, not even close. The other thing you can do here, let's just grab a bunch of photos again, is we have a few other projects up here. So, for example, you can create a photo book. This is a lot of fun. What we're going to end up doing is I'm going to dedicate an entire class to these different types of projects and just kind of navigating you through them. So if you do want to see that, that is a separate class that we're going to do, but it's really easy. It's a lot of fun. You literally just click any of these and you can arrange them, and you can have them print your own cards, calendar, or book, and they really do look phenomenal. The other tip that I wanted to mention is if you do print your photos, okay, consider instead getting a flash drive, throw these photos on your flash drive, and bring it to the nearest, whether it's CVS, Walgreens, or whatever equivalent of those convenience stores you have near you. It is a lot cheaper. It's a lot better because if you have a color printer, keep in mind, ink is one of the highest marked up items there is. So, you're much better off paying, okay, maybe, 11 cents or whatever it is these days for them to print your photo from your flash drive, and it's instant. So that's my little tip on that. Well, folks, I think that about does it for me. I want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, make sure you click that little button you see on your screen right now and subscribe to our YouTube page. It is the absolute easiest way to be notified whenever we come out with new classes. And on that note, if you ever want to attend one of our live classes, they are free. This is a public service. I do this because I love teaching. I'm one of those crazy people who really enjoys his job. You can find out all of the information on our website at pcclassesonline.com. Hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, all that other good stuff. Thanks for watching, everyone. Class dismissed.